What's up, guys? Welcome to this installment of Mike's Vehicle Vlogs, and I want to thank you so much for joining me tonight. Yeah, about the airbag situation in the Aztek. So if you've been following this channel for, the last couple of videos and whatnot, if you've been sticking around and following the videos, I recently purchased a full set of factory leather upholstered seats for my '01 Aztek. And the only reason why I bought them really is because they were in really, really good shape, and they are also kind of hard to find. So I really didn't want to pass up the opportunity. I honestly could have cared less if my Aztek had leather seats or not, but they were there, and I just didn't want to skip out on the opportunity of buying them. So I bought them, I installed them, and then I got an airbag code. Now, prior to the seats being put into the Aztek, I did not have any airbag codes, so now I have one, and it's kind of obvious. The passenger side airbag cover looked like it was open, but the bag, to me anyway, looked like it was still intact. I know I've seen those before where the heat kind of starts to peel away the cover of the airbag hub, and just from maybe years of being in the sun or whatnot. So I thought maybe that's what happened. The cover just came apart, and the bag was still intact, and it was just a cover issue. But no, unfortunately, thanks to the handy dandy scan tool, I came to find out that that seat had actually been deployed. Now, I would have thought honestly that that seat would have been through a lot more damage than what it is with that airbag deployed. So, obviously, before I found that out, I didn't want to go digging through with that bag and pulling things out. But what happened is, it appears as though the airbag was deployed and they just cut the bag out and stuffed whatever wouldn't fit back into the bag, or into the hub, I should say. So, needless to say, that airbag is no good. I didn't think it was really going to be that big a deal. However, come to find out that when the airbag light is on, it will disable all of the airbags in the car, just because one bag or one fault has been found. So needless to say, the Aztek doesn't have any functional airbags at this point in time, and it wouldn't be such a big deal if just that bag wasn't going to work, obviously, and the other ones would work. But no, I found out that none of them are going to work, so now we have to try to fix this. And what I'm going to do is we're going to try to swap the airbag hubs from one of the old seats into the new seat that's in the Tech. So this seat here, this is the one that was pulled out. Obviously, they're all down here in my messy basement because I don't have time to organize anything at the moment. So whatever, disregard that. But you can see, this is the front passenger seat. And on my Tech, when I bought it, you can see the airbag is still intact. Now, I really didn't want to have to tear these seats apart because they're actually still in really good shape, and I wanted to use them maybe in the future as, furniture, like I did with the minivan seats that I found. But I figure before I go tearing apart the nicely appointed leather seats, might as well try on these. I'm sure I'm not going to really damage these. I probably really won't damage them at all, but yeah. We're going to try to take the cover off, and we're going to try to get this airbag hub out of the seat. Now, listen up, because I don't think I have come across any videos about how to tear these GM captain's chairs apart. But I do know, we're going to find out. And dealing with airbags it can be extremely dangerous if not done in an appropriate manner. I am a student in a tech school for automotive technology. We recently just started talking about airbag systems, and I did print out instructions from the service that we have at the school. I printed out instructions on how to take the seat apart and, you know, work around the whole airbag thing. Now, just because these seats down here are not plugged in does not mean that the airbag is 100% safe. You know, you got to be extremely careful when handling any kind of airbag hub, because it could be just as bad as a loaded handgun. You want to treat that thing with caution. You don't want to throw it around, obviously. I mean, the chances of it going off without any kind of power or anything like that, it's slim, but there is always a possibility. So I have to be extremely careful when I'm doing this. I also am gonna have to be extremely careful when we go out there in the next couple days, whatever, to take the old bag out of the seat, just disabling all of the airbags again in the Aztek. So I just want to let you guys, you know, be aware of that. If you are watching this because you want to know how to actually do this yourself, be very, very cautious. I have safety glasses just in case. I know that might not do a whole lot for me if the bag goes off, but I at least want to try to protect my eyes anyway. But we should be fine. But just keep that in mind. If you're doing any kind of airbag work, anything at all with airbags, be extremely, extremely careful with what you're doing. Make sure you have the proper knowledge, instructions by the manufacturer or whatever. Be extremely careful. So if you don't know what you're doing and you're watching this, do not try this then. But if you're going to take a crack at it, be extremely careful. Now, like I said, these seats have been down here for a few weeks now. I'm sure, you know, everything is discharged. I don't think there's anything, there's really no modules or anything, you know, that's carrying current in these seats at the moment. So basically what we need to do is we need to loosen the J-clip, which is located along the edge of the lower seat back. And then we got to remove the seat back cover. And from there we should be able to access the nuts that sit behind the airbag hub, and we should be able to from there we should be able to actually get the bag out. So it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot that needs to be done, you know, while we're doing this. I honestly wish I had a table or something down here. That's our J-clip, I can see it. So it's that long black thing there at the bottom of the cover. So this may not be as complicated as I'm thinking it's going to be. But just because I don't have anywhere to put this, it's going to be a pain. So I think what I'm going to do is we're going to lay it like this, perhaps. There. Now under the seat you can see this is actually the airbag connector. This plugs into the wiring harness that's in the floor of the Aztek under the carpet, and obviously that takes it to all the modules and stuff. There might be a seat sensor in here if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if 2001 models had the seat weighing, the weighing system. I don't know how you would really say that. So this is the J-clip now. How you unloosen this, I'm not 100% sure. Here's another one here. This is what it looks like. Yeah, it looks like we just have to pull it. Now this is for the seat bottom. So, you know, I just wanted to see how we can get to that. But yeah, it looks like it just kind of comes off like that. So yeah. So that's what it looks like. It's literally a J. And then so now I get to try to get that back on. Okay, so if we actually look at it from the side, you can see it's actually kind of like two J's, and they're snaked together. So I guess what we have to do is fish them out, I guess. Okay, so got that up. What I did is I fished one side through and then I just kind of used my finger, and I kind of tried to move my finger, slide it across until it all popped out. So that is where that is to do that. Okay, so this was leftover fabric. They have it, you know, tucked in, you know, so it folds and all that stuff. That lower part of the J-clip is actually the opposite side of the seat cover. So I tried to push it through the bottom. You can see it here. I was going to try to fish this off. It's a little more snug than I was thinking. Obviously one hand is not going to cut it. But I took my phone, put the light in there, and actually right there, those are the bolts right there. So there's one there, and the other one is right on the other side of that clip. It might be maybe possible to just work with it from here, possibly. I mean, I don't know. I might try it, because the padding, obviously, you can, when you get your tool in there, you can push down on this and make it work. So I might try that instead of trying to ruin the seat cover and whatnot. So it's really not as difficult to get to as I was expecting. I thought maybe the entire back of the seat had padding and stuff in it, but no, not really. Not necessarily everything that I was expecting. So let me try to get a socket in there and we'll see what happens. So I've got my phone sitting wedged up there, so I can actually keep the fabric open and get to the bolts. A deep well 10 is what fits on those. So I'm going to unloosen those and we'll see what happens. This is where you gotta be very, very careful. So let's have at it. Alright, so got those out. That really wasn't that bad. So now all we gotta do is carefully pull the bag out. Now there's gonna be wiring on it. The pigtail's still plugged in. We might have to stand the seat up. Yeah, the connector, it's right at the bottom, man. It's right at the bottom. That might be the only thing that makes me weary about not actually pulling the seat cover off, because you really don't want to tug on those wires too much. Well, as it turns out, you cannot disconnect that from the back of this like you can the steering wheel airbag or such. It looks like it's actually, I don't think you could take that off. You might have to actually pull the entire wiring pigtail up through the seat, which, you know, like I mentioned, it starts at the bottom of the seat. Let me try to tilt this back up. So it's nice and easy. So it starts here, and it's actually connected to this bar on the bottom of the seat. So it starts there, it routes up here. You can see I'm wiggling it, and then from there, let's see, it looks like it should have been attached to something else, and then from there it goes straight to the side of the bag. So that entire wiring harness needs to come up out of there. I didn't realize that that was going to be a thing, but it is. But it is. So you could probably do that without tearing all of this cover off. Just gotta figure out how to get this off of that. Oh, it is a clip. Okay. I don't want to break it. There. See, it's a little clip. It just went right on that bar there. So from there we should be able to snake all that up through there.
that connector head should fit through there also, and then we should be able to just pull that bag right out. But pay close attention to where it routes. So when you put it back in the other seat, you want to make sure you got the same routing. So up under here, this is the wire, I think, for the lumbar support, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, that's the cable for the lumbar. So this big, thicker wire here, that's the one there. You can see it moving up there. So it goes up through this frame, through that frame also. And then, I put my phone away, but right alongside the frame to the bag itself. That's not too bad. Another thing that you'll notice too, when you actually look in the side of the where the bag was, this plastic mesh here, it's flexible, so you can see where the wiring goes through this plastic here against the seat frame, so you can pull that through. If the seat cover was off, I think that comes off too. That's part of the seat cover, technically, that plastic. See that? And just kind of fish it up through. Those clips kind of make it difficult, the ones that are actually on the wire. So again, you're gonna need 2 hands. I'll need 2 hands, but that's what you're looking at right now. Here's one other challenging part you have to be mindful of. When it's coming up through here, there's only a small hole in the padding itself that travels up to the rest of the seat back. So the connector head is really tight coming through there. So try not to tug on the wires that connect to that. You want to kind of use 2 hands and try to push it through carefully without breaking, the tab or anything. But try not to pull on the wires. You don't want to end up pulling them out of the out of that connector itself, But we're almost there. And there it is. When you're trying to snake this through the rest of the way also, you're going to need to, again, kind of mess with the plastic, the black plastic mesh. Lift it up where that wiring comes through, and then you can snake the rest of it out of there. So that's it. Now, when you're handling that bag, just a couple of quick tips. Obviously, do not hold it facing you. Do not hold it facing you at all. Try to keep your fingers away from the face of the bag. And if you're going to store a bag, like if you're not going to use it right away, like I'm not going to be using this right away, set it somewhere on a table or something where it's not going to get knocked off, and when you set it down, set it, well, this is not a good example because of the slope, but set it facing upward. Don't set the bag down on its face, because if it for some reason happens to go off, then that bag's going to shoot up, and if you're nearby, it could hit you or whatnot. So if it sits like that and it goes off, it's just the bag laying there. The rest of the unit shouldn't move. So that's that. Now I get to try to put this fabric back together. And there we have it. Got all the fabric tucked back in. Got this J-clip. It's all secured, front and back. Other than the large hole in the seat. Whoop. Well, other than the large hole in the seat, you wouldn't even know that it was messed with. There we go.
So this wasn't so bad. I'm actually going to see if that wiring can be disconnected from that hub. It might not be. You might have to actually snake that entire wire out. I mean, if that's the case, I have to take the other seat back out which it wasn't that complicated. But I just don't want to ruin anything. So, excuse me. I'll look into that to see if you can actually save the harness in the seat. It really didn't look like it. It looked like that's actually hardwired into the unit. I don't know. So that's it for tonight. The next couple of days or so, if the weather's nice, we'll disable the system in the Aztek again, and then we will take the seat out and we'll do this all over again. And hopefully, fingers crossed, when this one's plugged back in, hopefully the airbag light is corrected and hopefully all the bags don't go off. But it should be okay, I'm assuming. This module is completely fine, obviously. It's never been used. So that's that. I will see you guys in a bit. Alright guys, welcome back. So today's the day we're going to actually tear apart the leather seat and get the other airbag hub into it. It's really nice. This is probably, hopefully, the start of our warm-up. It's really hasn't been a cold winter. It's, I mean, a little chilly, but the sun is out. I'm in a hoodie. It's supposed to be near 50 degrees today. A little bit of a breeze, you know. So we get to go disarm the airbag system in the Aztek again. Only this time we're not going to disconnect the battery. That's what I did last time. I disconnected the battery and let the car sit for well over an hour before I even, touched any of the connectors under the seat. But this time, we have our instructions, per ShopKey Pro, which is what we use at school. This is what I printed off. So basically, it's again kind of like what I was saying in the last segment of the video. Warning, accidental airbag deployment is possible. The SDM maintains sufficient voltage to cause airbag deployment for up to 1 minute after the ignition switch is turned off and battery is disconnected or the fuse is pulled. It varies from car to car, but that's when I did this the first time. That's why I disconnected the battery and waited for an hour. The instructions on here actually say that we do not have to do anything with the battery. We just have to make sure that the ignition switch is off, the key is out of the ignition, and we have to pull the fuse in the fuse block down there in the center console. So it is a 10 amp fuse, and I have to look at the manual because I don't have a diagram with this one. So we're going to pull the manual out. We'll look to see. Is there a sticker here? Oh, there is. Nice. Oh, it doesn't tell me what they are. It just tells me what amps they are. So I still need the manual, but it's one of those 10 amp fuses. So what we're going to do is it says, undo the fuse and then wait at least 10 seconds before touching any of the connectors. Now, for me, I'm going to unbolt the seat and stuff first before I even touch that connector. So I'm going to unplug the fuse or remove the fuse. Then we're going to unbolt the seat. Then we'll worry about removing the connector. I'm not so much worried about this seat, perhaps, because, it's already been deployed. It's not going to deploy again. I'm more so concerned about this one and the other two, obviously. So let me pull the manual out of this box. And when you're not in the sun, it is kind of cold. This is our fuse block here. And the airbag is number 22 airbag module. Alright. A little corroded, a little crusty. But that's, that looks a little crusty in there. Now, I'm not really going to film the removing of the seat process because, when I made the video about installing these seats and whatnot, it was actually documented there, but I'll just give you a quick rundown. You need an 18mm socket for these bolts. There's one here, and then toward the back
of the seat, but kind of in the middle. There's two more. They're a little pushed up elsewhere. There's one right there. And then the other one is on the opposite side. You can't see it from this angle, but 4 bolts total you got to remove. The one bolt back there on this side, because this is a powered seat, you're going to probably want to use a ratcheting box wrench if you have one. It makes getting to that one a lot easier. So while that system is, I don't know, being, you know, debombed or whatever, I will get my socket, start tearing this apart, and I will see you guys in a bit. Alright, so yet again, got the bolts removed. Seat is up. Now from there, we're going to disconnect the power seat adjuster connector right there, and of course the airbag one. Now, I'm going to need 2 hands for this, but when you do the airbag one, there's a little black tab right there. You got to pull that through before you can even disconnect that harness there. So keep that in mind. This is just an ordinary, you know, you squeeze it and you pull it apart. And yet again, the seat has been removed. This is how I'm going to be working on it. I brought some cardboard home. I'm going to use the porch as my table, so it should make it a little bit easier to get to everything. So same thing on this. We got these J clips here, and again, I'm probably going to need 2 hands to fight these through. We'll pull, you know, the excess leather away. I wonder how stretchy this is going to be. So we'll open it up, and it's going to be very similar to what was inside of the other one. Should be anyway. I didn't really demonstrate it in the first half of the video, but once I got, you know, the J-clip started, got my thumb in there, and just kind of walk it through, you can kind of see it coming apart. Just like that. There we go. So now, I'm gonna need my flashlight for my phone. I wanted to see if maybe the frame got bent or anything. It doesn't look like it. I would have thought the seat would have been much more damaged, you know, after the airbag went off, but I guess not. So I think what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna start to fish this connector up out of this part anyway. Gotta remember where all these clips go. Yeah, there we go, got that one there. And then again, there's, you know, the hole up there. It's gonna fish through here into the side. See it there. And then up. Our bolts are there. And eventually out the side with the bag. Also, one thing I noticed on this seat that my other one, I don't think was, you know, I don't think the other one was like this. It probably should have been, but it wasn't. But there is an extra tab on this wire, and it's connected to this little cross beam here. And of course, it's the part that opens is on the back side of it, so I might have to get a flathead screwdriver or something, or try to pull it. There we go. This one, you know, this is the bad bag anyway, so. But that goes on this little section right there. Now I can start to kind of wedge that up a little bit. Okay, so we got both of the nuts out of there. Yeah, the leather doesn't stretch as much as the cloth did, so it took a little bit longer for that very top bolt. From there, we got some of it out. It might have broke that. Doesn't look like, I mean, I don't see anything other damage to the seat. The frame doesn't look like it's bent or anything. I do see this broken piece here. That could be maybe from the bag exploding. Alright, so now I'm going to need both hands again to fish the rest of this through. Then we'll go downstairs real quick. We'll grab the good module. Don't want to lose that. And we'll try to fish it in there the same way this one came out. And looking at it now with it out, there's the holes. Yeah, you can see where, it was off at one point. So it's torn, it exploded. So that's that. Let's go downstairs and we'll get the good bag. Now, trying to fish that connector, this part here, trying to get this through the very bottom is a lot more challenging with the leather because it does not stretch as much. So it's going to take a little more effort, a little more patience to carefully get the new wiring in there, because as I kind of stated, you want to be extremely careful with this connector and where the wires go in, and you just don't want to break any wiring in that, because it's going to end up like this if you do. It's going to be very unpleasant. Alright, so at this point we got our airbag in there, we have it tightened down. Didn't want to over tighten those because they were, they're pretty small threads, so I just made sure they were extremely snug, and they felt just as snug as they did when I was taking them off. We got our wire routing, that little clip, it is on that little bar thing there. So we're pretty much, I think, done with the inside of the seat, so I can fold that back up. All I have to do is get the other side of this connector all situated. The little plastic clip on this one broke off somewhere. I don't know if it fell off. I didn't see it when I was trying to get it through the cushion. It's really snug, so I don't know if it broke off and it's sitting in there somewhere, but I don't know. I didn't see it anywhere. I still don't see it, but they're taped on. They're taped onto the wires. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this one off of the old one, and we'll tape it onto this section here so it clips onto the bottom. This should reach to where that plastic clip is. That should be where that goes into, so that stays locked. And that's it. So that's really all that needs to be done. Then we got to put the seat back in, put the fuse in, turn the ignition over, and keep your fingers crossed that nothing decides to go off, except for that airbag light. Alright guys, so we got our seat back in place. All that's left to do is connect the two connectors and bolt them down. So this is going to be the part where it's going to get pretty interesting. It should be alright. I'm not assuming anything's going to go wrong. Everything should be fine. But you never know. Set the camera down here a little bit. It shouldn't do anything now because we still have our fuse disconnected out of the fuse block. I'm also getting new neighbors today, so if something were to go wrong, this is the great time to set a first impression. Oh, go in. Okay, it's locked in. Now we're going to put our little black tab back in there. If I remember which way it went in. Through the bottom. Push it in. It's locked. Now we put this little clip back onto the seat. That's the end of the airbag saga there for now. Plug in your power seat connectors up there. And there we go. Now when you set your seat down, obviously make sure you do not pinch those wires between the floor and the carpet. That'll work. That'll work for now. Okay, so that's it. We got our seat fastened down. It's not going anywhere. Our connector is hooked up and placed in its proper position. obviously everything in the seat, we routed it to the way that it came out. All we gotta do now is put the fuse in, and before I do that, I do want to kind of get some of the crustiness off of this. It's not too bad. Alright, so here we go. Okay. Alright, that's it. Now for the moment of truth. I'm going to turn the ignition on. Alright, so for this, I'm going to go under the column, just in case. Like I said, I'm sure it's going to be fine. I'm probably making a bigger deal out of this than it is just for amusement purposes. But I think we're going to be alright. So, go underneath here. Alright, first ignition cycle, and airbag light is flashing. Airbag light is off. Woohoo! Awesome. That's it. Wonderful. I figured we weren't going to have to worry about it, all of that. You know, we took the necessary precautions. We, actually got our correct instructions from a service guide, and just, we were very careful with our wiring. Tried not to tug on the wiring so much, taking the airbag out of the other seat and putting it in this one. That was probably the most challenging, is trying to get it through the cushion. But it appears as though everything is good. So the airbag light is off. That means all 4 of the airbags in this car should be completely functional if, God forbid, I ever needed to have them work. And I don't know. I think we're done here. So if you needed to know how to change the side airbag out on these kinds of GM seats, not only the Aztek, like the minivans had a lot of the similar seats. The Rendezvous probably has the exact same situation going on in it also. That's probably, how you would do it. Just remember, always use caution when you are handling an airbag, because you never know if something bad is going to happen. Just always be very mindful of that. And I think we were. I think we were successful. The seat looks good now. It looks perfect now because of the fact that it doesn't have a open airbag. But like I said, more importantly to me, I got all the airbags online again. So that was my only real concern, was having the rest of the airbags work. We didn't have to reset anything. We didn't have to replace any of the other modules or anything. Just the bag itself. So that's it, guys. I want to thank you for watching this. If you guys thought that this was entertaining, or if you took some knowledge away from this video, give it a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe. Also check out teespring.com/stores/Mike's Vehicle Spotlight for all of your MVS and vlog merchandise. I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much again for watching, and take care.